How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Coach Norvell mentioned that, the offense kind of got the best of some of those plays at the end of Thursday's practice. When something like that happens, but you really like the way you guys responded today. When something like that happens at the end of a practice, do you have to address that, or do the guys kind of respond to that on the moment?
I think as a coach, you never want to overreact or underreact. You always just want to be who you are consistently. And, listen, Thursday was, there were some throws and catches that were tremendous. And if there were coachable moments, yes, we hit it. If there weren't, sometimes it was, hey, move on to the next play. It's just, as a coach, you try to not make any moments bigger than they need to be, but you definitely want to be, intentional with how you coach them. You want to be very intense with how everything goes. But yeah, try not to live in the up and down world of what sports is, and try to be there for them where they can say, all right, Coach Fuller's always going to react like this, which is hopefully, with good thoughts and intentional with how you do it, but with intensity all the time.
Next would be Matt Marshall from the Orlando Sentinel.
And Mike just mentioned the fact that the team he felt like needs to play a little bit faster. How do you get that kind of speed on the defensive side of the football, and how much of it is communication, or is it other aspects of it?
Yeah, there's a lot of things when he says he wants to play faster. He's probably talking about in between plays too. Just plays get over, getting 22 guys back to the line of scrimmage, getting the call in, getting lined up, the communication, and then the ball gets snapped. Then you want to see speed as well. So I think when you go out there on a scrimmage and coaches are off the field, I think the tempo of, from the end of one play to the end of the next play, like all those things, like I think that's probably what, is being pushed as far as we want to create more tempo with all things that we do.
Next would be Brennan Sinone from Knowles 247.
Adam, so far through, I guess, a quarter of spring practice, so almost half at this point, how's the competition at quarterback been? Has anyone started to distinguish themselves among the 2 or 3 guys you're going to be rotating in?
At corner, you said, Brennan?
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're rotating a good amount of players there now. Duke has been really consistent for us. That's Omarion Cooper. He's been consistent, and then we've been rolling a lot of other guys. And, the 2-1 guy, there's 2 younger players, Sam McCall and Azarie. We put them with, one group, and we're saying, so their reps never get skipped. Today they integrated a little bit more in with the 2s. But we try to come out of practice and say, okay, make sure we don't jeopardize their snaps because everything's so new to them. The rest of the group, there's Greedy, Vance, and Kevin Knowles are kind of playing off of each other at nickel and at corner, so they're both getting reps at both spots. Renardo Green has been moved there. Jarian Jones has been, a little bit nicked up, but trying to get him into action. Demore Tate's been getting snaps, so that's kind of the group we've been rolling with. I'd say Duke is, coming off of a freshman campaign, and you're seeing some improvements with him. And then, the additions, we're trying to make sure we get them caught up to speed. And we're making sure Azarie and Sam's reps are always staying consistent, and then we just kind of pair off the other reps with the rest of the group.
Next will be Kurt Weiler from Tallahassee Democrat.
It seems like Jared Verse has looked more comfortable and had a bigger impact with just about every practice. I guess, what did you see from him today and the other guys who were kind of contending for those open starting spots there?
Yeah, I think Jared, there was one play that you really felt him, put his foot in the ground and covered ground. He's one of the fastest defensive linemen I've ever coached, just from a speed standpoint. He's got legitimate straight line speed. I thought there was enough football in there that, things got going a little bit for him. I think he could be much better than he was today. I think there's no question in that. But some of it in these scrimmages, you don't know the scenarios that kids are getting put in, and how many of his 25, 30 snaps are in long down distances where he can kind of pin his ears back and go. But Jared's been really good for us so far. He's exactly who we thought he was. He's a great teammate. He's got a high expectations for himself. He plays hard. He's got a good motor to him, and he loves football.
We'll go back to Ira.
How is Tatum Bethune kind of, what has he added to that group, and do you see kind of his experience in a scrimmage situation like today?
Yeah, Tatum belongs at this level. I mean, point blank. I mean, he's smart enough. He's physical enough. He loves the process of getting better. Again, he's got high expectations. You know, anytime you have a player and you go up to him and say, "Hey, I thought you did a really good job with this," and they tell you, "No, it wasn't good enough," you got the right guy. And you know, it was easy for Tatum for me because the film's the film, but you know, Randy had been with him. You know, and so you know, I can watch the film and say this, this, and this, but like, Randy, what's the real stuff on this one? And so I knew he would be good enough. You know, you just, until you really work with an individual day in and day out like we are now, you still had things that you want to check off the list. But, you know, Randy was absolutely right on Tatum. He plays fast. You know, that's the best way I can say. He sees things. You know, he's got good anticipation at linebacker, which, you know, on defense you are a reactionary player a lot, but when you can see things happen as they're happening, you know, it makes guys' play speed really faster. And I think that's where Tatum brings that to us. And he's going to be an impactful player. He's going to, you know, he keeps progressing. He's going to have a place for sure on this defense, and you know, and a chance to push the level at linebacker that we've been playing with.
All right, we'll go back to Ira.
Coach Norvell sounded like he was pretty pleased with the pressure you guys got up front, especially creating some TFLs. What did you see out of Fabian and Coop and those guys in the middle?
Yeah, well, Fabian Coop didn't play a whole lot. We try to make sure we were getting the guys that we needed a little bit more snaps in the dope today, those snaps. But like how we need to play defense, you know, our front four and then all the guys aligned in the box, like we've got to create lost plays through technique, through scheme, through effort. And, you know, we started to build on that last year. We've had to add some different pieces as we continue to progress. But, you know, I think Odell Hagens and JP do an outstanding job with, you know, we say, listen, this is what we want it to look like. These are the things that we need it to look like. And then they apply the techniques. And, you know, the kids believe in what we're doing right now. And, you know, it's not always going to be perfect, but I like where we've come. You know, I saw Pat Payton win a quick third down pass, one-on-one rush. Saw Derek McClendon win a one-on-one pass rush. You know, those things that need to happen. You know, offense wants to get guys in one-on-ones, so does defense. And then it comes down to technique, finish, effort, you know, all those things. And I think that front group for us is we've got a good group of guys, and now it's just about getting better and making sure these young guys develop into the next core.
We'll go back to Brendan Sinano.
You mentioned Renardo Green with the cornerback group a little earlier, and Coach Norvell mentioned him, I think, sometime this past week. What has Renardo done to kind of get on track and be more consistent so far this spring?
Well, he's had a stretch of probably 4 or 5 months now where he's been able to be with the team. There's been no injuries, been no setbacks, and so he's always been somebody that's going to put work in. Yeah, that's never been a question. He's been somebody that's a competitor too, and he's got tools. It's just about being consistent health-wise, and then when that allows that, then be able to be consistent within his play. And we're starting to see that. You know, I always thought he was a really plus coverage safety, and so, you know, always pushing to try to make sure that we have a good enough group of corners, and we made that move in the offseason with him, and I think it's the right move. He's looked comfortable. It's not something that he hadn't done before. You know, he's done it in high school. He did it early in his career here at Florida State. So he's in a good spot right now, and you know, but he's definitely somebody that, you know, every practice that we have is great opportunity for him to earn those competitive opportunities. But you know, it's the right move to put him where he's at, and looking for him to continue to make progress.
All right, last one will be Ira.
The transfers they brought in at wide receiver, what is that? And then also the improved play from some of the returning receivers. What has that done for your defensive backs in terms of the competition level of practice, and maybe how that'll help prepare them for the fall?
Well, you know, as we met as a unit, a quick briefing today, I said I want our offense to play great. Like, and you should too. And the offense should want us to play well. And you know, competition is us with them, not us versus them. And I think listen, some of those one-on-one plays that were made today, that were made Thursday, I mean, that's good for Florida State, you know? You never want the defense winning all the battles. You never want the offense winning all the battles. You want maximum effort, maximum execution, and then at the end of the day, like, that's going to give us the best product. And so, you know, we brought in some legitimate playmakers at wideout, you know, and they've been challenging. I mean, there's been some unbelievable throws and catches from our quarterbacks and wide receivers. And with knowing who those guys are, that's not going to stop. That's only going to get better as they work with each other.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys.